political panel, former DNC Chair Donna Brazile and former Republican Congressman Patrick McHenry. Good morning to you both, Congressman. I will call you Patrick. Let's start with those very prominent voices that we have heard: Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Joe Rogan, who have strongly criticized the war in Iran, but in Iran. But it does not seem to stick, that criticism, with the MAGA base.
Well, this has long been the phenomenon. You have MAGA influencers, mainly online, that say that this is their movement, not President Trump's movement. We saw this with my former colleague Marjorie Taylor Greene. And when MAGA influencers get in a fight with President Trump wins. That's been true since he came down the staircase a decade ago. On small things, they may have influence, but on big things, he's firmly committed. And this is not played out with the Republican electorate. The Republican electorate still finds Donald Trump to be the most agreeable president of their lifetimes. And this president maintains the highest approval ratings within his party of any modern president.
Is it extraordinary to you that this is the president who said, I'm not going to get you in any wars, and here we are, and there's still support? Is that just automatic?
No, but it's targets of opportunity to reshape the world. The president's agenda is focused on China and trade. Let's not lose sight of that. There's a lot of noise on the way there, but Venezuela was in service to American energy dominance. The issue with Iran was a target of opportunity where you have the 40 top leaders gathered in the same spot, and they took action. The results here will mean that at the negotiating table with China on trade, the president's hand will be enhanced. That's his focus. And we lose sight of all this because there's so much noise right now. But that's truly the signal of this second term.
Donna, how do you see this? We know that overall this war is not popular. Even going into it, it was lower than any war since World War II, the favorability rating.
Well, you know, I've watched MAGA grow over the last couple of years, and MAGA was built on the tenet of America first, meaning no more foreign interventions, no more endless wars, the focus on the American people, the American economy. So I think the tension that you're seeing with the base of MAGA, which is the energy of MAGA, is in contradiction with some of the hawks, the Lindsey Graham, the Tom Cottons, who want, hey, let's just get rid of this country, let's get rid of its leaders, and then a better day will appear. But I also believe that the markets, I think the president is also paying attention to the markets. And that's where I think they're like, okay, we might want to calm things down. I was telling the congressman in the green room that the president said, when I feel it in my bones, that was my grandmother Frances saying, oh, by the way, I can tell it's about to rain because the barometric pressure, I can feel it in my bones. The president doesn't have an end game. And that's why MAGA, the base, the energy, they're very disgruntled right now.
Yeah, Patrick, the energy there is about going to war, and they're backing President Trump. But if those gas prices stay high, Republicans have to be concerned about that.
Well, yes, that is obviously the case, and the president cares about that. That's why you see the president messaging every day. We saw oil markets respond for a tweet that was up for 2 hours this past week. We saw oil markets move by hundreds of billions of dollars just based off of a tweet. It's a highly sensitive moment. The president knows how to play on that mental piece of this, the behavioral piece around markets and trying to influence them. That's why oil, frankly, is not higher today, even given 20% of the oil being taken off the global market in a fast way. The president's sensitive to that. We know that the markers of the market are very important to him and his political case. That's why you see him working so actively and trying to communicate that this is going to be a short-duration war rather than long.
But you got to be upset by the fact that the president is easing the sanctions on Russia at a time when Ukraine is still getting the hell bombed out of it. Putin is a benefit in the short term of $150 million a day, maybe $10 billion over the next couple of weeks. This has to concern not just you know, the base of the MAGA, but concern the American people that we are actually going to give Putin a profit, a windfall, to destroy a NATO-aligned, well, NATO-supported country.
Just to explain, President Putin has voiced support for Iran in the middle of this war, and we've sort of temporarily lifted those sanctions on oil. Ukraine's President said this easing alone by the United States could provide Russia with about $10 billion for the war This certainly does not help peace, he said.
It certainly does not, but it's the Europeans that have done a great disservice for their energy infrastructure and are more reliant on Russian energy than anyone else in the world. India as well. The pressure points on relief of sanctions are with Europe and India, not with the United States. We produce more oil than we consume here in the United States. We produce more natural gas than ever before in the United States. That's why you're seeing natural gas markets not respond. The prices go up as much because it is a regional market compared to global oil sales. But most of the oil held up because of the closure of the Straits of Hormuz goes to India and China. We see lines today at the gas pumps in China as a direct result of this action. And at the same time, the president's economic team is negotiating on our trade relationship with China starting today in Paris.
Donna, one of the things the Democrats have been pushing as the midterms approach is affordability.
Yes.
So this is going to be a pretty big deal going forward if this does not turn out well.
Hey, look, it's not just at the gas pump. I often tell people, when you see the gas prices go up, you're going to see bread go up. You're going to see a lot of other goods go up because you know what? The supply chain is being cut off. Right now, livestock, they're being held at the strait. You have produce. You have cars being held up. This is a crisis, and the president understands it because he posted last night. I forgot what part of my notes. He's looking for France and the UK and China to help him reopen the strait so that those goods can flow through. It's going to hurt us, not just at the gas pump, but in the grocery store and much more.
Got about 15 seconds for you to respond to that.
Well, it's a question of duration. If we're talking about this, if we still have an active set of strikes going on in 2 months, that is going to be a very different economic situation than 1 month. And it's a question of duration and intensity and the ramifications on energy and infrastructure that will be the decider.
2 weeks,
and there seems to be no concrete answer about how long it'll go on. We'll have to see that. We'll be standing by to watch all that. Thanks for this.